Hello? Hello? All right, I have one announcement. If you are driving a Ford something or other, license plate 3PVV55, you are in the way of somebody. So a Ford Explorer 3P Victor Victor 55, please move your vehicle. This is from Seamus Healy. A round of applause for Seamus.
Thank you.
Yeah. If you happen to have a seat open next to you, we've got about 100 people who would like a seat. If you have a seat available next to you, please raise your hand. If you'd like to sit down, find somebody who has their hand raised, which is nobody. We're going to start in about 30 seconds. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kelly Moore. I am the president of the North Braintree Civic Association, and I would like to welcome all of you to Candidates Night 2023. On behalf of the North Braintree Civic Association, I'd like to welcome everyone to this evening's Candidates Night. Tonight we'll be hearing from one of the two candidates for running for Town Council District 6 and two candidates running for mayor. Founded in 1978, the North Braintree Civic Association has been hosting Candidates Nights like this for over 40 years. We are delighted to continue the tradition in 2023. Should anyone be interested in further information regarding the NBCA, you can see the information table in the back. There are 26 days until Election Day in 2023. I've said that 5 times. On November 7th, we believe events like tonight serve not only to highlight the candidates that we are electing and are willing to step up and volunteer for their time and effort and talent for the betterment of Braintree, but also highlights one of the strongest elements of the American tradition, which is the democratic process and your right to vote. We'd like to thank those who are here from BCAM in the back. A round of applause for BCAM. This event is being shown live and is also being recorded and will be available to be seen on YouTube, BCAM YouTube TV. We'd also like to welcome those who are watching from home. I've been asked to ask you to turn off all your cell phone ringers. There's only one cell phone ringer allowed in this auditorium, and that is that of our timers. And you will probably not be able to hear that, but we can hear yours most likely. Is our custodian Mark in the room? He's hiding. Well, anyway, a round of applause for Mark, and if you see him, we'll give him another round of applause. At this time, I'd like to introduce the candidates who are running unopposed. Please hold your applause to the end, and when I mention your name, please stand. District 1, Town Councilor Julia Flaherty. Okay, if you don't mind, just hold it to the end because it's all for everybody. District 2 Councilor Joseph Reynolds. District 3 Councilor Elizabeth Maglio. Please, just keep on standing, it's okay. We want to applaud for you when we're done, so you got to stand up and keep standing. I know it's tough, isn't it? Okay. District 4 unopposed, Anne Marie Quilty. Anne Marie here? There you are. Thank you. District 5, Councilor Meredith Baricka. There you go. It sounds like America, right? Okay, I'll get it right one of these years. Councilors at large, Shannon Hume, Dave Ringus, and Charles Ryan. School committee members, Joseph Fogarty, thank you. Rachel Horak, thank you. Joseph, please remain standing. We want to see your pretty face. And Justin Rollo. Justin here tonight? There he is. We have an announcement from Christopher Peters I'd like to read at this moment. To whom it may concern, I'm officially withdrawing from the race of Braintree School Committee. After many talks with my family, I've decided due to the demands of home and work, I'll be unable to fulfill a seat in the committee to the best of my ability at this current time. Although I'll still be on the ballot, I'll decline a seat if elected. I want to thank all who helped get me to the ballot at the last minute. I wish other candidates their best of luck moving forward and hope they serve the interest of the parents, students, of community to the best of their abilities. Thank you sincerely, Chris Peters. The reason why I read that is because we would have had an opportunity for 4 school committee members to be part of the debate, but because there's only 3, it's only contested, so there you go. Library trustees, Laura Kolpis, John Pelosi, Patricia Pilgrim, Ann Tolan, and Christian Vanderslice. Electric Light Board, Anthony Agnetti, Housing Authority, Matthew Sterling, and Martha Guggens. A round of applause for these amazing people. A special thank you for Town Councilors Stephen O'Brien, District 4, and Larry Mackin, District 6, for their service and dedication over the years. They are retiring from public service. Thank you for your service to the town of Braintree. Where's Stephen O'Brien? Thank you, Stephen. A special thank you to school committee members Carla Soros. My wife's half Greek and she didn't even help me with this. Kelly Koblamir and Tom Devon for your service as well. Special thank you for them. At this time, I'd like to introduce the candidates who are running for the contested races. Please stand when I say your name. Peter Morin, District 6 candidate. The other candidate is Mark Doucette, who is not here tonight. For mayor, Mayor Charles C. Koukouris and Aaron Joyce. Aaron, there you are. Love that. The rules. The order of the candidates will be chosen by coin toss prior to the beginning of tonight's event, and I trust that took place. Okay. The questions will begin with the first candidate and will rotate for each question. For District 6 candidate, you'll just have to rotate yourself. Because there's only one of you, but you will be asking questions. The candidates will have up to 2 minutes to answer each question. At the end of 2 minutes, the timekeepers, who happen to be sitting right here in front of me, we've got Liz Page, we've got Steve Sasha, and we've got Jen Wadland. A round of applause for our timekeepers. You can hold up stop anytime. So when you see the stop sign, or turn, there you go, finish your thought promptly. At which point you'll sit down, or no, stop. There will be no warning before your 2 minutes is up. So you're going to have to judge that for yourselves. After both candidates have answered the question, the moderator will ask if you would like to rebut, at which point, if you choose to respond, you have 30 seconds for your rebuttal, and then the same thing with the next candidate. So you have the opportunity for rebuttals. After the last question, the candidates will have 2 minutes for your closing comments. And now, you all have had these packets on your seat, 200 of you anyway, 200. Do not open them yet, because I am going to introduce Patrick Leonard, who will then give you permission to open them. Patrick Leonard, town historian, come on up.
Thank you, Kelly, for inviting me to speak, and Liz Page, thank you for inviting me to speak. Thank you for saying that. I would like to open my portion of this evening's program by asking you to open the envelopes which you received when you entered. Take a few seconds to look at them, and then I will proceed. This evening, we are going to be listening to many people who are seeking to represent you. Why do they want to do this? Because they have a plan for the future of our town. This evening's meeting is their opportunity to discuss this plan with you. The organization which sponsors this event, the North Braintree Civic Association, has been doing so for more than 40 years with one major purpose: to give voters the knowledge which they need to cast their ballots for the candidates whose promises and programs will be the best for our town and its people now and in the future. Tonight is the night for you to gain this knowledge firsthand. Our vote is going to give a select group of these candidates the opportunity to turn the ideas and plans which they present to you this evening into action. That action will affect everyone here in the future of the town that we called home. As a citizen of Braintree and as a voter, what do you expect the candidates to do for all of us and for our town? They will tell you tonight. If these candidates want to represent all of us, please consider who it is that you, the members of this audience, represent this evening. And that certainly includes the people who are at home watching this broadcast now. You represent all of the people who are not here, the people of the past, other people who live in Braintree today, and those who will be the residents of our historic town in the time which lies before us. You represent the people of the past by protecting their legacy. Take a look at the Did You Know sheets in your hands. Braintree's past is in your hand. Braintree's history is brilliant. Braintree is one of the most unique towns in the world. Braintree is truly the birthplace of presidents. As you look through this list, if you say, I didn't know that, if you say that, then the Did You Know collection has done its work. Read the sheet. Then you will know. You represent the people of the present by guarding their lifestyle. The present is in your hand also. It is you, the voters who are here tonight, and the voters who are not here this evening, but who may base their decisions on what you tell them about what was said here tonight, what you heard here tonight, and they may decide what life will be like in Braintree in the future based on those decisions. What you see and hear and the way that you convey it to others is very important. You represent the people of the future because the decisions that you make today and the day when you vote will decide what kind of lifestyle they will have in our town in the years ahead. Your future and theirs is in your hand when you mark the X in the box to cast your vote and choose a candidate. What kind of a town do you want for the members of your family who will live here in the future? What kind of a town do you want for anyone who will live here in the future? That is what your vote decides. Thank you for being here. Every one of you will vote. That's for sure. Shut off the telephones. Listen close, take notes, ask questions. Speak to the candidates personally after the formal program is over. This is your chance to get to know them personally. Tonight is your night, and a night which can change our town. For our town's future, it is one of the most important nights of the year. Braintree is a good place to live. You know that. You live here. What do you want Braintree to be? Your vote will decide. Please freely share what you learned this evening with as many people as you can, family members, friends, neighbors, co-workers, and others. If, after talking to you, they say, "I didn't know that," then you too will have accomplished your mission, giving the knowledge of the past to appreciate our heritage, and the knowledge they need to know that you gained tonight to make as good a decision as you can and as they can when choosing the people who will lead our people and our town in the future. Life is finite. We are the temporary guardians of the town of Braintree, and the future of the town right now is in your hands. Let the generations that follow us be able to say that our generation found Braintree to be a historic town, a beautiful New England town, a good town to live in, a good town to work in, a good town to raise a family in, and that during the time of our guardianship, our work, our choices, and our decisions, we made the town of Braintree even better. Thank you.
At this time, I would like to introduce our moderator for tonight's event. I'd like you to welcome Maria Montiglioli.
Thank you. Can you hear me in the back? Perfect. Again, on behalf of the North Braintree Civic Association, I'd like to welcome you all here tonight. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming to your candidates night. And at this time, I would like to invite Peter Morin to come join me up at the podium. Peter is running for District 6 Town Councilor. As Kelly had mentioned, unfortunately, Mark Doucette is unable to join us this evening. So we thank you, Peter, for being here. I am going to ask you a few questions, and you will have 2 minutes to respond to each one of them. So, Peter, please tell us about yourself and why you think you are qualified to be the District 6 Town Councilor.
Okay. First, thank you, North Braintree Civic Association, for inviting me and the other candidates here tonight. I know you're all here to hear from me tonight. I'm the main show. I am who I am largely due to 3 things: my parents, my wife and family, and the town of Braintree. Everything that I have had in my career, I owe to those three things. Braintree gave me a great education, enabled me to go to a great college. I went to Highland School, South Middle, and Braintree High, class of 1977. Many of you weren't born before that, but Braintree also, and I was able to go to a great college and a great law school. Braintree also gave me the privilege and honor of electing me to serve as a select board member, as an assessor, as the chair of the Charter Commission to study a change in the form of government that was instituted. I've also served on the Mayor's Transition Committee, and am currently serving on the Charter Review Commission. The experience I had in Braintree gave me an opportunity to develop a career in public service and in public administration. I have served as the Chief of Staff to the Mayor here for 7 years. In the last 8 years, I served as the Town Administrator in the town of Norwell. I have ideas about what can be done to bring Braintree in an appropriate direction in closing our budget gap and dealing with the age of schools and redeveloping and renovating our schools and getting them into the condition that they should be, particularly the elementary schools. We're doing a good job with the middle schools, but the elementary schools, the last time a new one was built was 1970. So I hope I answered that question.
Thank you, Peter. Peter, what are the biggest challenges and opportunities in your district, and what is your plan to address them as a town councilor?
Well, there's nothing unique to my district in District 6. I think the three things that I want to address are getting the budget back into a situation where we're not spending from our reserves. I think we have to look at how we can find new revenue without raising new taxes. One of the places I would look is at trash. We are the host of a trash transfer station. That gives us leverage to basically use it to raise revenue. We get about $780,000 in revenue and tipping fees from other communities that tip in Braintree. But that still leaves a gap after our own trash fee of about another $800,000 that we need to raise in our own budget. I think we should leverage the fact that we as a host community should raise that fee so that between the fee that we receive from hosting the transfer station and our own trash transfer or trash fee, we cover our entire trash bill without going to our budget money. And that would free up money that we could spend on teachers and firefighters and police officers. I would like to see tax relief for senior citizens. I think we should have a home rule petition to allow for seniors that are receiving circuit breaker relief to also get additional relief in property taxes from the town. Special legislation has been passed in about 40 communities, and I led the effort in Norwell as town administrator to provide that relief in Norwell before I left, and I think we could do that here as well. And I'd also like to see a long-term strategic plan on how to finance the renovation of our elementary schools. I have experience in putting together capital plans. I put one together in Norwell.
Thank you, Peter. And the final question is, what committee or committees would you hope to be assigned to and why if you are elected District 6 Town Councilor?
Well, I think I now aspire to be a timekeeper because I think that's the best job here. I think I am best suited to work on ways and means. For the last 8 years, for the last 15 years, I've been putting together municipal budgets. I understand municipal finances pretty well. I have worked in each of the communities that I've worked. When I was Chief of Staff in Braintree, when I took office and as part of a good financial team, we had less than $1 million in reserves. When I left in 2015, we had $14 million. When I took over in Norwell, we had $1.5 million in reserves in 2015. When I left, we had $5.3 million. We got through COVID without touching our reserves. We were very prudent and fiscally conservative in forecasting revenue, and we worked our operational budget so that we would see surpluses. I'm a good manager of finances, and I'd like to be able to do that, do what I did for other communities and was paid for. I'd like to do that for Braintree for free.
Thank you, Peter. That was our last question. We thank you for being here with us tonight, and we wish you the best of luck with your
Thanks.
campaign.
You can all go home now.
And now I would like to invite Mayor Charles Kokoris and Erin Joyce to the podium. Before we begin, I'm just going to quickly go over the rules again. I'm going to ask a series of questions. I will ask the same question to each candidate. Erin had won the coin toss, so she chose to go second. And I will start with Mayor Kokoris, who is at the podium right next to me, and rotate the questions after that. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer the question. You do not need to use the entire 2 minutes. However, if you go over, I'm going to let you know your time is up. After both candidates have answered the question, you will have the opportunity to rebut your opponent's response. Rebuttal response is going to be 30 seconds, and we will not be rebutting the first or the last question. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay, all right, here we go. And we're going to start with you, Mayor Kokoris. Tell us about yourself and why you believe you are qualified to be the next mayor of Braintree.
First of all, I'd like to thank you, Maria, and thank the North Braintree Civic Association and everyone that is here tonight and everyone out there on BCAM. Good evening. My name is Charles Kokoris, and I am currently your mayor and also serve as a member of the school committee, and also I am the chair of the Tri-Town Water Board. And I'm proud to have my family here today, my wife Denise and my 2 sons Chris and Michael. And for me, I grew up in Braintree. I was raised here, I was educated here, and as a previous speaker had mentioned, some schools. I went to Colbert, Noatori, closed, Central, closed, and Braintree High School class of '83. And my boys, second generation Braintree Public School graduates in 15 and 17. So the Braintree schools have been so great to us, and we've been blessed. My wife Denise and I decided that we were going to open Braintree Cleaners, and we owned and operated that business for 31 and a half years. And we got married here. We married in Braintree and bought the house that I grew up in. So we live and breathe Braintree. And as far as some of the service, the community service that I've done over the years, public service, I served for 12 years on the town council, also as president. I served 2 terms on the Board of Selectmen and served as chair for 2 terms. I served on the Water and Sewer Commission, the Charter Review with previous speaker, Planning Board, Park Commission, Fair Housing, Economic Development Commission, and Fair Housing Committee, I already said that, and as well I was a town meeting member. Oh boy. All right, that's my experience. I'm currently a mayor, and I ask for your vote on November 7th.
Thank you, Mayor Kokoris. Erin?
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight, and to North Braintree Civic Association for hosting. Thrilled to be here, and to echo the sentiment that Mr. Leonard shared with us, that Braintree has a brilliant past, and I'm here tonight to tell you that Braintree has an even brilliant future, and I want to be a part of it. I love community work, and Braintree is my home. My children have 3rd-generation Braintree roots, and I've built my civil engineering and land surveying business from scratch in Braintree. I'm all in. I've spent thousands of hours volunteering at Town Hall in the last decade, from being chairperson of the Planning Board to a member of the Master Plan Steering Committee and Charter Review Commission. I've volunteered in the schools. I was part of the Hollis PTO board. I was coaching Braintree Youth Soccer before I even had children in the program, and I'm currently coaching first grade boys soccer right now. I'm a professional civil engineer by trade and a professional planner. And I have a unique background and skill set that I'll be bringing to the table as mayor. And it's not lost on me tonight that I am incredibly fortunate to even be sitting here. I never imagined running for mayor of Braintree, but I was certainly working on relationships and skills to make me an incredible mayor. I would be so lucky to earn your vote come November 7th, and I do look forward to earning your vote. I look forward to the conversation this evening, and I look forward to the conversation in the days and weeks ahead, because local elections are the most important and most impactful thing you can participate in. I'm ready to get to work for the town of Braintree with the skills of a civil engineer and small business owner, the compassion of a mother fighting for our children's future, and the heart of a daughter wanting the best for those who led before us. I'm happy to see so many of you here tonight to listen to our ideas for the future of Braintree. Braintree deserves a leader that's going to meet you at your door and shows up every day to work really hard for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. And Erin, we're going to start the next question with you. All economic development, from Amazon to Chick-fil-A to Clean Harbors, brings revenue to Braintree. But some are welcomed by residents, some are not. What are the specifics of your economic development plan, and how will you accomplish it?
Thank you. So I'm a civil engineer by trade, as I mentioned, and I served as past chair of the Braintree Planning Board, and I was a member of the board for almost a decade. And in my career in civic service, I've seen hundreds of proposed projects. Some are great, some are okay, and some are terrible. But for us, it's not a question of what to develop, but rather a question of what do we need to do to be fiscally stable as a community. And I think we need to get ahead of our discussions around planning, and we need to get out of reactionary mode. We aren't going after the projects that we want effectively enough. And what we're seeing are projects that come in that don't fit the needs of the residents and are not wanted by the residents, and the process is very challenging. So I think we need to get ahead of these conversations as a community. We need to be out advocating for what we want. We need a town hall that's going after the projects that make sense for Braintree. As mayor, my first task, my first order of business would be to establish an economic advisory committee. And we would also do a townwide analysis of property values, and we would look at how much properties make us under current zoning and how much properties cost us. As we watched the ZOM project come through, there was a lot of discussion about what is the real impact of a project on our police and fire, on our schools, and we have to weigh that against the fiscal situation of the town and where we need to be. And we need to make long-term stable decisions. We can't grow too fast. We have to grow sustainably, and that's going to take a lot of hard work and concentrated effort, and it's going to require all of you to show up and tell us, where do we want to go? What is the projects that we need, the businesses we need to attract, the housing we need as a community? As I've been out talking to residents this campaign and knocking on doors and talking to people in their homes, there's a lot of varying needs for housing and interest in what we would like to see at the plaza. So we need to take control of that and make decisions that are best for the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. Would you like me to repeat the question?
What's that?
Would you like me to
Sure.
repeat the question?
Sure.
All economic development, from Amazon to Chick-fil-A to Clean Harbors, brings revenue to Braintree, but some are welcomed by residents and some are not. What are the specifics of your economic development plan, and how will you accomplish it?
Thank you, Maria. Firstly, we have been working since the day we took office on economic development here in Braintree. One of the first things that I did was put together an internal committee or team of staff members to attract life science. Life science was a goal of ours from the beginning, and we worked through many, many different meetings with many different life science companies until we finally landed Integra, which is the first life science company that Braintree has been able to bring to town. And it was a vacant building up on Wood Road, and now it has Integra building out, and it also has another company that's building out as well to cover the whole building. As far as empty space throughout town, we have been working with key stakeholders that own those properties to get redevelopment done. We have had numerous meetings with the South Shore Plaza, with many different large corporate buildings that are available. We do not own these buildings, so we can't force people to bring different businesses in, but we certainly can lead them in the right direction as to what types of businesses work best in the town of Braintree. The example of Integra was Amazon, which was previously approved by the planning board, which was a distribution center, which was a terrible thing. Fortunately pulled out. They wanted to go to that building. We said no, I said no, and I worked with the building owners to bring in the right type of development. So there's plenty of great development out there, and we have worked as a team. I work with all of my staff on a regular basis to bring folks in and have those conversations so that we can redevelop the town in a way that works best for the residents and brings in commercial rate, which is a much higher rate. Thank you.
Thank you. Erin, do you have a rebuttal?
Yes, please.
30 seconds. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I think we should be cautious about how realistic life sciences is for a community like Braintree. There are thousands of square feet of life science space that is vacant. The Beat building, as you drive into Boston, is completely vacant. That was supposed to be life sciences. We have Integra. It's not here yet. We have Banner Park, which was touted to be life science. Now it's rumored to be movie studios. We have Lord & Taylor that is vacant, and we said it was going to be life sciences, and it's vacant. I think we need to be very cautious as we move forward as a community and we talk about what makes sense for Braintree, that life sciences may not be worth putting all of our eggs in that basket. Thank you.
Mayor Kokoris, do you have a rebuttal?
Certainly. I gave an example of how my office has worked to bring life science into Braintree. We are very flexible. That's why when Banner Park decided to move in a different direction, we worked with Banner Park. And we're also looking at different uses for the property that's owned by a company called Hudson Bay, which is the former Lord & Taylor site. We absolutely know that the market determines what's coming into Braintree and what's not. But we certainly have the flexibility. That was just one example of a great effort on behalf of my administration. Thank you.
Thank you. So the next question, we will start with Mayor Kokoris. Every development to date, in any development proposed, will affect public safety and traffic, which residents continue to express concerns over. What is your approach to improving public safety and addressing traffic issues in Braintree?
Thank you, Maria. During my administration, we have worked to restore our traffic unit. One of the issues that we had in the last several years is that we did not have a funded traffic unit. That unit is out in the streets now, and it's making the road safer. We have a number of, post-COVID, there was a number of people that were going through red lights, et cetera. So we have utilized that traffic division to correct those problems. As far as when development does come in, we ask those developers to provide us with either funding or details or whatever is necessary to make sure that the traffic flow works when that business comes in. And another thing, as far as the treatment plant, the new treatment plant, one of the things I negotiated in the use agreement with Holbrook and Randolph was to provide a police officer and 2 firefighters in regards to the impacts that the treatment plant would have. So as far as public safety, we 100% support our public safety personnel, our police and fire. We have done numerous things to invest in that area to make sure that we have safe streets, and to make sure that the traffic moves through the town more freely, and we'll continue to do that as projects come before us.
Erin, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, I'm all right, thank you. So Braintree is full of quiet neighborhoods, and as we've been walking around this summer, there's so many tucked away neighborhoods, but almost every tucked away neighborhood empties onto a busy street. And the traffic can be really challenging, and if you're trying to take your child to practice from one side of town to the other at rush hour, I mean, it's very, very unpredictable. So with that said, you know, on our main streets, traffic always gets backed up, especially during rush hour, and when the regional highways back up, it spills into the Braintree roadways, and cut-through traffic, I think, has been made worse over the years through the use of Google Maps and Waze, and redirecting drivers through quiet neighborhoods, and to just shave off moments of arrival time, and they're unaware of the area, and they might be on their phones following the Google Maps and not even looking up to see children in the streets or cars parked on the side of the road. So I think we need to be very clever about the ways that we address traffic, and certainly a traffic enforcement division is a great start, but I think that's not going to help all the streets immediately. So I think we need to think more regionally about traffic calming issues. And we need to look at actual physical things we can do to our roadways, especially some of the cut-through streets where traffic is really speeding. So looking at narrowing streets, adding street trees, putting up more visual reminders to drivers that it's not a wide open highway that they can speed down, and that it's a quiet neighborhood side street. Ensuring that there's safe pedestrian paths and appropriate curbing. We can stripe our roadways. It's a lot more challenging to drive on a striped roadway. It seems simple, but a center line and a shoulder helps drivers pay attention to the space where they're supposed to be operating. And we also can consider putting actual striping for parked cars. I know in one of the neighborhoods where we were walking, people were flying down the middle of the street. So we can do more, and we should be doing more.
Mayor, do you have a rebuttal?
Thank you. We have been working throughout the last 4 years in making sure that we make neighborhoods safe in regards to the cut-through traffic. We had the Granite Park neighborhood. We just did a truck restriction. It took us a number of years through the legislature to get it done, but it was accomplished. And we have put signage up. We have a traffic advisory study committee that hears all of the requests as far as putting up signs in neighborhoods, and our town engineer does a great job with that. Thank you.
Erin, do you have a rebuttal?
Sure. I'll just add that I think when you're looking at, there are definitely certain streets that deserve more attention. And those streets, they do have temporary speed bumps and they do have signage, but drivers get used to that and they don't pay attention to it. So I think there are certain streets in Braintree where we need to go a step further and put them on the list for narrowing, more costly improvements, but in the long run, I think will protect pedestrians and drivers, and we need to make those investments. Thank you.
So our fourth question, we're going to start with Erin. Braintree residents were recently featured on the front page of the Boston Sunday Globe for their opposition to the ZOM project. The ZOM project was a large-scale apartment complex proposed adjacent to the Flaherty School and neighborhood. ZOM withdrew the proposal without prejudice after a negative recommendation from the Braintree Planning Board. However, without prejudice means that this project could come back at any time. What are the lessons that have been learned from this process and proposal? And do we need to do anything different if it comes back? Please explain in detail.
Thank you very much. The ZOM project, I think, is the perfect project example of a lot of things that the town can do better, and I think it starts first by having more robust neighborhood discussions about what we want to see in our neighborhoods, in places adjacent to our neighborhoods. I spent many months on the Master Plan Steering Committee where we took a lot of feedback from neighbors and residents on what the future of Braintree looks like for them. And I think we need to have better conversations before a project like ZOM even comes into Town Hall for consideration. And I think once those conversations happen, we know the South Shore Plaza wants to evolve. We want the South Shore Plaza to evolve. It's our #1 taxpayer. Their success is our success. And this isn't the first project that has come before us in that general area. And I think what we're learning is that the process in which these projects come through Town Hall is confusing, it's frustrating, it can be scary, and we haven't been able to have productive conversations around it. And to that, no one should be coming into Town Hall fearing for their investments, fearing for the safety of their children in school around projects. We need to be having conversations ahead of time, and then we also need to be hosting the meetings in an understandable discussion way. I think we could have more buy-in meetings with district counselors ahead of projects coming to the planning board, making sure that there is a committed and robust community process before it comes down the pipeline to the planning board. The planning board has to follow, and the town council, open meeting laws, and it gets confusing, and it's not a great place to have back and forth discussion. And so I think we can really clean up the process and really try to help residents and members of the boards understand exactly what we're looking at from all aspects. We are going to be seeing development come in, and there's a lot of stuff we need to be working on. Thank you.
Well, the ZOM project. First of all, I stood up here in opposition to the ZOM project. The ZOM project, there was nothing confusing. It was straight up a project that the South Shore Plaza was doing a one-off, selling for $20 million, an area of land that they wanted to make $20 million off of. And they sold this. So as far as conversations, there were multiple planning board meetings and multiple opportunities with a negative recommendation for planning board members to take that vote. They finally did. And people, the residents of this town, and not just North Braintree, all over this town, came to those meetings and talked and discussed what they felt and the issues they had. And quite frankly, from an engineering point of view, we had infrastructure issues. The South Shore Plaza had multiple permits that they were issued, and every time they were given a special permit, they always said, we don't do daytime traffic. We do not have commute traffic. It was a bad project to begin with. You would have been allowed approximately 60 units there. They wanted 500, and then they went to 400 and 300. No matter what, 60 units is what they were allowed. They came in with a plan unit development, which no one has ever used in this town, and quite frankly, they tried to compare it to Hanover Mall, which was absolutely apples to oranges. Hanover Mall was a comprehensive plan of the entire mall. This was the mall selling it to ZOM and letting ZOM profit. And it's funny because the South Shore Plaza, Simon Properties, argued that they caused too much traffic, I believe, in North Carolina in a story. So this mayor stood in opposition to ZOM because it was not the right project, the right place for that development. It was too big, and it was not zoned for that type of development. It was a very simple decision that could have been made, and it was dragged out for quite some time. Frustrating for you, the citizens, and quite frankly, withdrawing without prejudice just means let's wait and see, and this mayor will veto.
Erin, would you like a rebuttal?
Sure. Thank you. I will reiterate that I do think the process that we have around development, whether it's ZOM, whether it's Chick-fil-A, whether it's a potential cannabis use at the old Carter Rice building, we do have discussions, and when projects come forward, we try to react to them, and I think we have to get ahead of going after what we want to be there. So We know that the plaza is going to want to do something. We know that Ivory Street Corridor wants to evolve. We know that Wood Road wants to evolve. We should be involved in these discussions before projects come forward.
Thank you, Erin. Mayor, would you like to rebuttal?
Yes, I'd like to provide. There was plenty of opportunity for a decision to be made, and the hesitation was quite frustrating, and it's not complicated. This was a very simple vote that could have been taken and wasn't taken. And quite frankly, I as the appointing authority to the plan, I'm embarrassed that so many people had to come to so many meetings, and really the way that you guys were treated. So I'll apologize for that, but I'll tell you, no's on.
Thank you, Mayor Kokoris. And our next question, we are going to start with Mayor Kokoris. There is not only a desire, but a real need for housing affordability, senior housing, and veteran housing in our community. What metrics would you use to determine how much of each we need? Which type of housing is most achievable, and where would you focus first?
Thank you, Maria. Currently, we have a bid out for a feasibility study at 7490 Pond Street. We were afforded that funding through the state, through our legislator, and that feasibility study, once it's completed, it's currently out to bid, but a feasibility study would allow us to look at how many units could go at that location. It's a perfect location. The town owns the buildings. It would be a great reuse. It would have veteran, senior, and disabled housing, and it's a great neighborhood. It's across the street from the pond. I think that the shortage of housing, and I know because I've seen so many folks that have been on waiting lists to try to get into senior housing, and veterans that have had to wait. It shouldn't happen that way. So this is one of the things that we're trying to do right now to make sure that we have a home for our veterans, seniors, and persons with disabilities. As far as other locations that we're looking at, we have worked to create more affordable housing. We purchased or bought down 25% of Windjammer Cove apartments to create 19 new units, and we're currently in the process, or Wind Properties is in the process of closing with the state on financing, creating 40% affordability at the Allen Street property. So we have been working very, very hard on making sure that we create more affordable housing for our seniors, for our veterans, and for folks with disabilities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We definitely hear a lot about housing affordability in our community. We've heard it all throughout the master plan steering process. We hear about it every time housing comes up, when especially seniors who are living in their homes, and when they're living in their single family homes, some alone, wondering where they could live in Braintree that would be affordable and would have a great community. And I think as we look forward into the future for where that is and what that looks like, we need to be first dialed into the actual needs of the community, what type of housing people want. We hear stuff from townhouse style to single family patio style homes. There's not a lot of land in Braintree to build a lot of that. So in the areas where we can achieve the sort of housing that fits the needs for seniors and veterans and families who need affordable housing, we need to be identifying it and then strategically going after that. We probably need a lot more than we'd ever be able to build, but there's a lot of programs that can help identify community partners that are strategic in building affordable housing. There's different levels of affordability. Affordable housing is simply just the age-old term that 30% of your income should not be spent on your housing and your utilities. So affordable housing, I bet a lot of us in this room don't have affordable housing in the traditional sense, but the level of affordability is really important too. And we may need to have more more resources using tax credits, relying on state programs to help fund those housing that we're trying to construct. And I think, it's a step forward to identify the properties, but it would be really great to target areas that also have services for seniors and veterans. It would be lovely to have senior housing that's also near a new senior center or a veteran service center and a senior center that's in walking distance to the housing. I think trying to build community strategically around housing that you're trying to build really helps create a community space that is benefit for everyone. Thank you.
And Mayor, would you like a rebuttal?
What's that?
Would you like a rebuttal?
I'm good.
Erin?
No, that's all right.
Okay. So Erin, we're going to start the next question with you. This is question 6. While residents appreciate the 2 new middle schools, there is an agreement that the remaining school infrastructure needs have waited far too long. What is the plan to address these needs as specific as possible? How will it be funded? Will debt exclusion, tax overrides, increased development be considered? And how will that affect spending on school resources?
The town of Braintree is facing a really serious financial crisis moving forward in the next 4 years. This last budget season, we saw $4.3 million of our free cash used to plug an operating budget, and the projections for the next several years are not looking any different. We also know that the schools, we signed a new teacher's contract last year with the expectation that we would not be able to afford to fund that at 100% in fiscal year 25, and that we would be facing teacher cuts. So the town of Braintree has a very serious financial problem, and we need to stabilize that before we can make any serious investment into the schools. And I think before we look at targeting specific investments in school buildings and infrastructure and expanded programming as it's necessary, we need a long-term plan, and we need to have an assessment of the building facilities and a very targeted plan. We need a sharp list of priorities in the schools and the ability to fund it at 100%. So we need a plan, and we need to be strategic, but we have very serious town-wide revenue issues that we're going to be tackling at the same time. So while it might take us a few years to get underway on building projects at our elementary schools or our high school, which is in desperate need of attention, and we've been promising it for years, we need to be realistic with our resources and not make empty promises in the process.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. One of the first things I did when I became mayor is I went to every building in town, both schools and town buildings. And I started in the boiler rooms and made my way up to the roofs. Not literally on the roofs, but up the roofs. And I will tell you that from that experience, from that analysis, I was able to come up with some ideas of things that needed to be added to the debt exclusion. The first debt exclusion that we've ever passed in order to build the South Middle School. I looked at the roofs that need to be replaced, which would have never been done, hadn't been done, some not been done in 30 years. Hollis School, for example, 30 years ago was the last time we replaced that roof. So I put those things on the debt exclusion along with school security and a feasibility study for the high school when we finally get into the MSBA to either build a new school or do the repairs that need to be necessary. But more importantly, what we did was we went through the process to combine facilities. Look at this beautiful room. This room is beautiful because our facilities department does such a tremendous job every day. I wanted to bring our facilities and combine them with the school facilities so we could get more things done. We have focused, our facilities department has focused probably 80% of their efforts on our schools. So we are putting out fires right now. Obviously, this has been going on for many, many years, but we are fixing things. And when we get to a point where we fix enough things, we'll start to plan to create even better improvements in the schools. I don't think it's going to happen overnight, but we certainly have started that process, and I'm excited that we have been able to do so much with less money because we've brought it in-house, and our schools are number one priority, and we're not going to let them fall apart. We're going to continue to fix them, and we have a plan, and that plan is being implemented right now.
Thank you, Mayor Kokoris. Erin, would you like a rebuttal?
Yes, please. Thank you. The roofs, we replaced them. 2 blew off before we replaced them, and now we're paying $500,000 in extra insurance premium as a result of that. We replaced roofs at several of the other elementary schools, but we didn't replace the whole roof because we didn't want to trigger accessibility upgrades. This is the same stuff that keeps happening over and over again. We cannot throw 50% of the resources at 100% of the projects. We need to be strategic. We need a very visible, that the public can access plan, and it needs to be a long-term plan. Thank you.
Mayor Kokoris, would you like a rebuttal?
First, I'd like to say that we put on 4 new roofs. If the entire roof did not need to be replaced, it wasn't. But let's not discount the ADA improvements we did as well at Flaherty School. We did something that had never been done before. We have spent more money on our physical buildings, building the new school, putting an addition onto East, and we did that along with these roofs, and we have done so many more improvements. We've done asbestos abatements, et cetera. So it boggles my mind that somebody would actually question that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Kokoris. And now, I'm going to ask this last question, and this is before our final closing statements. This will go to Mayor Kokoris. What is your vision for Braintree over the next 4 years?
Thank you, Maria. Well, firstly, we have many, many different things that are going on right now. And we did our first master plan since 1998, and I was actually on the planning board when we started that process. So we have a number of different issues that have been brought up and different ideas that have come from the master plan. It will be finalized in December. And I think the input from the residents was the most important piece of it, and that's why we put so much time into public input. And I think that is going to formulate some of the ideas that came from the master plan. My vision is for us to rebuild our economy through redevelopment. I'd like to see, we've worked with Wood Road in that area to make sure that we can do redevelopment there as well. So we've been assessing all of our different areas of town that have commercial property so that we can do redevelopment to bring more tax revenue in without impacting our schools and in other areas. So as far as where I see us in 4 years, I see us with our new water treatment plant being built. I see us with the South Shore Plaza having redevelopment done within it. I see a number of other areas of town where we have so much infrastructure work going on. So we will achieve all of these things. We will make sure that our schools are brought up to the level that they should be. We will make sure that hopefully we will be building a new high school by then. But we have so many great things that are happening, and our seniors, our veterans will have housing at 74 and 90 Pond Street. And our Veterans Center over at Foster School will be a wonderful asset for our veterans. Thank you.
Erin.
Thank you. In 4 years, I see a town that has really committed to planning, and we have a strong financial plan. We have an engagement of citizens at Town Hall. We have public art. We have businesses, more businesses in our squares like Fasano's and Waves and Schubert Provisions. These places have brought the squares to life. I would love to see more of that. I would love to see the master plan information catapulted into a zoning rewrite. We had a lot of challenges with that the first time around, and we really need to take advantage of the hard work of the master plan steering committee over the last 2 years and put that into a zoning rewrite to modernize our zoning and so that it works the best for Braintree and it helps us be strategic about the development that we know is coming. We know MBTA communities is coming. We know that there's a lot of areas that are blighted that we would love to be making more money off of so that we do have money to fund the schools and to fund veterans programs and to help our seniors have expanded programming because we know there's going to be a lot more resources needed in this community for an aging population. So to be able to have those resources in a way that makes sense for Braintree and is proactively gone after by the leadership of Braintree, I see that. And I see a realistic plan for the high school and the elementary school buildings. I see us coming together as a community over the next 4 years to outline a plan for the schools. And while it might not be a brand new high school in year 1, I think at the end of 4 years, we will know how we can get to a renovated or new high school building and what the future for our elementary schools are. So I see a lot of planning, and as I said earlier, I'm a civil engineer and professional planner, so I think I have a great skill set to help us get there, and I hope to bring a lot of you along the way on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. Mayor Kokoris, would you like a rebuttal? Erin, would you like a rebuttal?
No,
okay.
thank you.
So we're going to start with our closing statements. Erin, you're going to go first. You do have 1 minute for a closing statement.
Thank you. So as many of you know, I'm not coming to this with the background of a politician, and I do mean that with the utmost respect of many of you who are politicians in here tonight. But I am coming to this with the background of a licensed professional civil engineer. My profession's moral code is, above all else, to prioritize the health, safety, and welfare of the public. I formulate plans, I'm a professional plan creator, and I solve problems. We talked tonight about some of the challenges we're facing as a town, but we also talked about many opportunities and the brilliant future ahead. No matter what side you take in this fall's election, I hope you see how important participating in local elections are and how much the future of Braintree depends on us all working together. I look forward to continuing this conversation in the weeks, months, and years ahead. Please ask your questions and share your ideas. We live in such a strong geographic area with a diverse set of voices, and we should be thriving. We can overcome these challenges. We need a strategic plan and a strong leader, and I look forward to being that leader. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. Mayor Kokoris.
Thank you, Maria. First, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight and all those folks watching on BCAM. I have dedicated my life to the town of Braintree. This is my home, and it's the most important thing other than God and my family. And I will tell you that it is a job, being mayor, that really requires you to have a lot of experience and knowledge. And 90 days after getting into office, we were here all the time. Every week we were doing food drives, we did vaccinations, we had to lead. When I say lead, we had to make decisions, tough decisions every day. And that's what this job is all about. And you have to have some level of experience in the position. And I think that the knowledge that you gain over the years on different boards helps you with that. But more importantly, I ask for your vote on November 7th. Thank you.
So again, I'd like to thank Mayor Kokoris and Erin Joyce for coming out at Candidates Night tonight. Thank you. Again, another round of applause. And Kelly Moore would like to come up with a few closing comments. Thank you all.
Fantastic, guys. I'd like to say, on behalf of the North Braintree Civic Association, tonight was a great evening to hear from our candidates. I'd like to give all our candidates another round of applause. I would like also to give a round of applause to Maria Bonfiglioli for being an amazing moderator. For Patrick Leonard, who is our town historian. That was amazing, Patrick. Thank you. We also have in our midst Braintree High School senior. Excuse me, please. Thank you. We have Braintree High School senior. His name is Gordon Ruan. And Gordon, please stand. Gordon is going to be doing this very thing at Braintree High for the candidates. He's going to, one of the ones who are organizing. And last but not least, I want to emphasize this. The most critical thing we have learned tonight is that we care for the town of Braintree. You're here for that reason. Whether you're supporting one candidate or another, we're all pretty fired up. And you know what? That's because we love Braintree. And we are what, Liz Maglio? We are one Braintree. It doesn't matter where we are, where we fall. Most importantly, you are one Braintree. Thank you very much. Have a great night.